Right now, we're still in the process, as you know, in terms of our due diligence, in terms of looking at plans and refining them and reviewing them in terms of cost and scope and things of that nature. Tonight, the board will be asked to approve submitting plans for review to the State Department, as we have said repeatedly, and we'll repeat it again. This is a step in the process. It's not a final determination of anything. It gives the state the opportunity to look at the plans, to then talk about what they would approve and what they would approve for debt reduction. And then that information comes back, and that factors in to whatever decision the community and the board makes going forward in late May or June. So I want to make sure that's clear to everyone. The only thing being approved tonight is the next step of the process of planning and reviewing and revising. Right now, we're also in the position where we really want to get the word out. We want people to look at the website, look at the plans that are there. There have not been major changes since what was presented in September. We've been talking about it, and we'll continue to talk about it at board meetings, PTA meetings, at my video reports that I put out, so that people are aware. There's been stories in the newspapers, stories in the district news that goes out, so we want people to be aware. There will be a meeting in April, tentatively right now, April 12th at Union School. I invited EPIC and PSA to be at that meeting. And again, it's not going to be a repetition of what we talked about in September when we met. It's going to be more of a discussion about a shorter discussion on the plans, and more of a discussion about process and what would happen if we decide to go forward in terms of timelines and things of that nature. In meeting with the people I've met with around the county, it is very clear that there's a common system, a best practice in terms of how to proceed to do these studies, and then, depending on what the board decides, how to proceed going beyond that. One of the things that I found was commonality in terms of developing communication, developing plans, and dialoguing. And that was very effective meeting. There was many things that these discussions I had in the past couple of weeks confirmed that I thought was the way to go, and there were some things that I learned that I didn't think about, and I feel very comfortable in if we go forward of how to work on putting the whole process together. We'll talk a little bit about that in April when we meet. What I would like to do is, with the board on the February 26th committee meetings, develop a little action plan of what would happen up till June, and then decide, depending on what the board's decision is, what goes on beyond June. And then after sharing that with the committee, then share it with the entire board. We're not there yet still, right? We haven't made a commitment, but if we make a commitment to go forward, we need to know what the process is beyond that. So we'll have that conversation at committee on February 26th, and then we'll have it with the full board following that. We are also going to be sending out letters. We've had a lot of community people. If you remember, we had a long-term strategic planning committee that had maybe 10, on top of my head, about 10 community members, or 8 or 10 community members. And we've heard from lots of folks who have said they'd like to be a part of future committees, should there be the need for one. And then there's some other folks who we think, being in terms of the administration talking, would be good to be part of a group. So we're going to be having a meeting in March for people who might be interested in being part of an advisory committee in terms of working with us both to communicate back and forth with the community. And once that meeting is held, again, there'll be a role prior to any decision for these people. If we make a decision to go forward, then there'll be a bigger role. And as we do with all committees, once that's finalized, it would be approved most likely at the March 12th meeting. Potentially, it might be approved at the meeting in April, depending on timing. Okay? So, there's a lot going on in terms of potential plans and preparation, but really what's going on now is just the next step, which is getting our plans to Trenton, see what they think about them, and continue with the dialogue with the community.